Hello everybody on YouTube. Mr. Natural here from Mr. Natural's classroom in sunny California in San Francisco. We're in the Haight-Ashbury district here in San Francisco, and we've been here for going on 50 years now. This is our live music broadcast, which we do every Thursday night now at 7:30 p.m. our time, Pacific time. First thing I'd like to do is please ask you all to go out and buy my music book, Music Theory Decoded, strictly by the numbers. You'll find it on Amazon.com. That's all I'm going to say today. You do it, buy it, you'll be doing yourself a favor. It will really help you get through music school. It explains things in a very simple, down-home way, and there's a little device in there which we call the Intervalometer, which fits behind a keyboard and helps you figure out how to see all the things that they're talking about in music theory. So we are working on rhythm, and we're working on ear training with rhythm, and we're working on dictation with rhythm. So what you will need for this class is a piece of paper and a nice hard pencil, not pen, because you might need to erase, and also have a nice hard backing on it, so when you draw you can actually hear the pencil tip. It's very important to be able to hear the pencil as you're writing, because that's part of the dictation process. So the first couple lessons we talked about meter, or the count. The lessons after that, we introduced two of our code words. The first code word was drum, and it is just simply drawn like this, drum. Then there was TARZAN. This is called a quarter note. In music, when you have two sounds or two syllables in the same amount of time that you have one syllable here, we call this TARZAN. And then today we're going to introduce a new code word, which is called alligator. And it has two flags. Now, if these are drawn individually, if you're drawing this, you draw the line, the stem, put in your note head, and draw a little flag on it. And two of those together be like this. Separately, these would still be a half or one syllable, and this would be the second syllable in one beat. And what happens is when you have a bunch of these together, you can string them all together in a nice long line by taking off the flag here and drawing the flags together. And you can draw the flags in groups of two. So here's another way of writing TARZAN, and another TARZAN. And these are using the whole code word. Now what happens in music sometimes is, to make things even simpler, what they'll do is with the TARZAN, they'll draw all of these note heads together with one ginormous flag. And this is still TARZAN, 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 drum. TARZAN, 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 drum. So a single flag going across represents some type of what's known as an eighth note. Okay? And we are using two eighth notes together in a little package which we're calling TARZAN. Now today we're introducing the new note, which is alligator. So al, la, gate, tor. You can see it has 4 syllables, and those 4 syllables have to be stated in one beat. So drum, drum, TARZAN, TARZAN, alligator, alligator, TARZAN, alligator, TARZAN, TARZAN, drum, alligator, drum, alligator, TARZAN, alligator, TARZAN, drum. You'll also notice that there are al, la, takes up the same amount of time as just a tar. And the gay tor takes up the same amount of room as a zan. So tar is Allah, zan, gator. So these two things with the double flag equal one of these. And these two on the end with the double flag equal one of these with a single flag on it. And that's the distinction they use in teaching it in school. Now what we're going to do is our job here is to learn to hear it with our ear and to be able to write it down or dictate it. That's what we're doing here. So I've written out 4 beats, which is normally called 4/4 time, or they use a big C for common time. And the first beat is always stressed. We call that masculine or active. And these beats are considered feminine or passive. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason for doing that is so the rest of the band knows where 1 is, and so the audience can hear where 1 is. And if people want to dance or sing along, they know where to come in on a phrase. So that is why the 1 has to be stressed masculine. Also, if the 1 is stressed, then we can hear that there's 4 beats. If all the beats are identical and the beats are undifferentiated, there's no way of telling where you are in the meter. So stressing the first beat is very important. So again, today we're going to work with alligator. Now, when we did drum and we did Tarzan, we discovered that putting 4 of these code words together, there were 16 possibilities, and last week we actually went through all 16 possibilities. If you use drum and alligator, there is also 16 possibilities. So if you use any 2 code words and do something in 4/4, there are 16 possibilities. The other possibility is Tarzan and alligator. And there are 16 possibilities. So by adding this one new code word, we've just added another 32 possibilities to this. So we now have this many, and if you were to sit down and work these out, every single possibility, you would wind up with that many. Of course, that is 12, 8, 48. So there are 48 possible rhythms that can be written with these 3 code words as they are. Okay? We're not going to go through all 48 of them, but we're going to go through as many as we can, and I'm going to be mostly doing this off the top of my head today so we can get right to it and go through this a little bit faster and not spend as much time today. Okay? So the first thing is you get a beat going, right? And we were doing that with our drumstick. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say code words as I tap, and I want you to listen. And then very slowly I'm going to quiet my voice, but I'm going to keep the code word. I'm going to keep the code words going. Okay? And I want you to see if you can hear them. So I'm just going to tap over here in the corner. You ready? Drum, drum, Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, alligator, drum, 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 alligator, alligator, drum, drum, alligator, Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, alligator, alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan, drum, Tarzan, alligator, drum, drum, Tarzan, alligator, drum. Alligator, alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, alligator, Tarzan, drum. So I hope you were able to hear that when my voice dropped out. You should still be able to hear the code words in your head. Okay, so now let's get right into it. So I'm going to give you I'm going to take those 3 code words, mix them up, give you a 4-beat rhythm here, and then I want you to be able to write it down. Now remember, when you write it down, part of this is if you have your paper on a nice hard backing, you can actually hear the point of the pencil as you go down. If you don't push too hard, you can actually tap out the rhythm with the pencil. And all we need to do to represent these rhythms is to draw out the stems and to put the flags on them. That's all. We can put any kind of note head on it that we want later. But for now, we just need the stems. So listen very carefully. I'll do it again. So what I hear is, so there's my drum, drum, alligator, drum. So that's what you should have written down on your piece of paper, right? Okay. Next one. Again. Two flags on the alligator, one flag's on the Tarzans. Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, drum. That's what you should have heard, and that's the way it looks with my quick, fast, lousy handwriting. Okay, let's try another one. Again, listen. Alligator, alligator, Tarzan, drum. One flag on the Tarzans, two flags on the alligators, and you can see alligator, alligator, Tarzan, drum. That's how that should look. Okay? Next one. Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, drum. Two flags on your alligator, one flag on your Tarzans. Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, drum. Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, drum. Next. Now listen carefully. Whenever you end with a Tarzan, it's tough to hear because your ear floats. Listen again. With the pen. Alligator, 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 Tarzan. Now, if that was hard for some of you out there, totally understandable. Whenever there is a Tarzan at the end, as I said, your ear floats and it's really hard to hear the end of the phrase because it's not a definite stop, or what the British would call a full stop or a cadence. It doesn't come to a halt at that point. It actually is kind of like a comma, and we want more rhythms to come after that. Whenever we end with a drum, it sounds like a definite stop. So listen. See how it sounds like it ended and it can stand on its own? So any 4-measure rhythm can stand on its own if it ends with a drum. If it ends with a Tarzan or it ends with an alligator, it tends to float and it becomes a comma, and we want to add more rhythm to it. You got to learn to hear the little subtle things at the end. Later on, when we get into the more complicated code words, some of them are going to be not. These are all symmetrical. Later, we're going to get into asymmetrical. Okay, so listen again. Here we go. Alligator, alligator, Tarzan, alligator, drum. So we put in our note heads, and you can see it looks like music. All right. Hope you people with pencil and paper out there are doing well. We do have a chat on the side, and Angel, our camera person, is watching the site, and if any comment that you have to make comes up or any question that has to do with what we're doing, please feel free to type in the chat or make a comment, and she can read it out loud if it's pertinent to what we're doing. Okay, so again, here we go. We're using alligator, Tarzan, and drum. Careful. Alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator. Two flags on the alligator, one flag on the Tarzans, and fill out the note heads. And you can see we're able to dictate in real time. Okay, let's go a little bit faster now. I don't know, I might have done that one before, but as you can see, Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, drum. All right, next one. Alligator, alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan. Alligator, alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan. Alligator, alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan. All right, next. As you can tell, I'm listening to this is a felt tip pen, so it's a little bit harder to hear. I noticed when I watched the video last week, you can almost not hear this. So you have to listen very carefully, but it's Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, alligator. Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan, alligator. Next. Oops, I'm sorry, erase. We did that one already. I've got to get another one. Once more. Remember, got to put two stems on it, otherwise it looks like two Tarzans. So we have drum, alligator, alligator, drum. Drum, alligator, drum, Tarzan. Drum, alligator, drum, Tarzan. I'm going to throw out two of my favorites. Alligator here, Tarzan there, drum, Tarzan, alligator, drum. It builds and then stops. Okay? Drum, alligator, Tarzan, drum. Two flags on alligator, one flag on the Tarzan. Drum, alligator, Tarzan, drum, drum, alligator, Tarzan, drum. You can see the rhythm slows down, and it's exactly the opposite of the other rhythm, which was speeding up and stopped. This one slows down. Okay, tough one to hear. Listen. I'll do it again. All right. Two flags on each, and as you can see, alligator, 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 alligator. Hard to hear again because of that. If that were a drum, alligator, 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 drum. Easier to hear, isn't it? Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan. One flag for the Tarzan, two flags for the alligator. Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator, Tarzan. And now a tough one. Alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator. Alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator. Alligator, Tarzan, Tarzan, alligator. Okay. And that's it for the dictation tonight and the ear training. Now next week we're going to do more of alligator, and as you can tell with the three code words, with drum, Tarzan, and alligator, there are 48 possible rhythms that you can write in 4/4. And for those of you like myself and like Angel, get yourself a piece of paper and see if you can write out all 48 possibilities. Now, we won't have time to dictate all 48 next week, but I'm going to put together a set of about 20 of them, and we're going to pick up where we left off with the dictation this week. And as time goes on, I'm going to start explaining this less and less, because the only reason I'm explaining it in the beginning is because we have new people coming on or new people watching this, and I have to kind of update them to what we're doing. But we're at a point now where I just want to start moving into this. And we have a bunch of other code words that we're going to do. And then we also have what are called compound code words, where we can take a Tarzan and an alligator and we can put them together to create other types of rhythms. We also have ways of taking two Tarzans, for instance, and tying the two middle sections together and then skipping a syllable. And these tied together rhythms create what are known as syncopation in the business. And there are certain syncopated rhythms that are very, very common in jazz and very common in a lot of the music that you read. And you'll see that they are actually a compound of several of the whole code words, or some of these notes are tied together to have a single sound, and you have to just say the syllables in your head, but only clap or sound out or draw the syllables that are heard. Okay? So until then, be well. We'll see you next week. And once again, please go to Amazon.com and buy my book, Music Theory Decoded, strictly by the numbers. And in the back of the book is this device that we call our intervalometer. You cut this out, paste it together, set this behind the black keys on your piano, and you can see in this case, the diatonic or major scale. And on the other side of that slider is this red slider, which is the natural minor scale, along with the harmonic minor scale and along with the melodic minor scale. So with these two sliders here, you also have the blue stripes, 3 flat, 5 flat, 7 flat, which give you the blues scale. So you have 5 different scales, which are the most common scales used in music, that you can actually visualize on the piano with the slider. We also have those of you that are going through school and need some kind of a slide rule or computer. We have this little thing in the book as well, which basically takes the two sliders, your major slider and your minor slider, you cut them out, fold this over, set it on top of here, and you can find out how many sharps or flats there are in any of the keys, and it gives the names, the official ABC names on the piano. Also next to it you will see a list of the 17 common spellings for all the major scales on the keyboard, and next to it the 17 common spellings for the minor, the natural minor on the keyboard, and above we have listed here the modes. And all of these scales, all 17 of them, break down to, their bones are simply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, high 1. The same as do, re, mi. So until next week, see you, have a good time, be safe out there, and goodbye from San Francisco, and see you next week. Same time, same station.